This pack is kind of mediocre. There's two mana mirrors, which are pretty strong. There's also a Galma's Warden. Um, I go back and forth between taking the mirror and the Warden here. It's not. It would be nice to have the Iron Mirror, but another Warden is, both a good blocker and a good threat once you have Metalcraft. Um, there's two fairly decent blue cards here, so I take note of that. But I end up taking the Warden because it's just, I don't know, it's a pretty good card, I think. I'll regret not taking those Mana Mirrors later, I think, but it's interesting. I think Gold Mirror and Iron Mirror are in the same print run because it's like three packs that we've seen with both gold and iron. Um, so here we have Turn to Slag versus Trigon versus a Quarter's Shield. Um, Turn to Slag is removal, so I take it. It's tough because it's double red, and I only have one other red card and no mana mirrors. Here I get a True Conviction, which is an obvious pick. I don't know what it's still doing in this pack at 5th, but yeah, that card ends games. Um, I've made some mistakes by not playing with that card when I had it. Um, I learned from that, and I'm now never underrating the big expensive enchantment that reads "Win the game" when you attack this turn. I mean, it just turns things around so ridiculously, and this deck has a Mirror Smith, which the mirrors get great with True Conviction out. Um, yeah, I mean, it's that's the sort of bomb that this deck wants. Here we have Strider Harness versus pretty much nothing. It's another equipment, which isn't a threat, but it's Strider Harness is a fine equipment, and so I take it for this deck. At this point, I'm looking at my spell bombs, and I'm like, I'm probably not going to end up playing these. I'm not going to play the Necrogen Sensor. I don't have a Glint Hawk at this point, so no way to reset it, and it's not even that strong anyway, I think. Um, Here we have Barbed Battle Gear versus Abuna Acolyte. I go back and forth on this for a second. Barbed Battle Gear is pretty good. I mean, it's great with the flyers, but I already have two 3-drop equipment, so I take the Abuna Acolyte. That's probably a mistake. I probably should have taken the Battle Gear, but this pack is pretty empty for me. It's pretty empty, period. I take the Fulgent Distraction. It's a pretty... I haven't really seen it used relevantly yet, so I'm not a huge fan of it at this point. It's pretty... Yeah. I see it... it gets played against me a lot, and I really don't know why people are playing it. Here we have Culling Dace versus pretty much nothing. The Berserkers would have been okay, but I'm pretty light red, so I take an artifact because that's really what this deck is missing at this point is artifacts to turn on all its awesome artifact stuff. Here we have a Abuna Acolyte versus another Strider Harness. I don't think I'm going to be playing two Strider Harnesses. I can't imagine when I ever would want to draw two, so I take the Abuna Acolyte. I've had two of those out before, and it's been pretty good. And this may not be the deck for them. Here it's, there's not much left in this pack. We are reaching the end of the pack, so that makes sense. I take Soliton because it's a blocker that'll get in my way. I take Vigil here, hoping someone will play Scoria Elemental against me. It seems really late for Barrage Ogre, so I take it. And Scoria Elemental last. So my deck's looking fairly decent at this point, but as I said earlier, I'm not getting many artifacts. I only have 8 artifacts that I could see main decking at this point, and I really wouldn't be too happy playing Nihil or Flight. So this is an interesting pack. Glimmerpoint Stag is obviously strong, but looking at my card pool, I don't really have anything that I really care about blinking. It's just another guy that doesn't really do too much with my strategy. So, the card that's like really strong in here is, or what my deck really sort of wants in here is like a Quarter's Shield. It's a free artifact, turns on both, or works great with both my smiths. So yeah, this one takes a while, because I'm still surprised I made the pick I did, but I think it's absolutely right. But it just felt so wrong at the time. So yeah, I think I end up taking the Quarter's Shield out of this pack, which seems wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's right. For this deck, I'm pretty sure it's right. So here we have basically Revoke Existence versus Dispense Justice. Dispense Justice is nice in that it hits real creature or non-artifact creatures, but Revoke Existence is probably better because people play around Dispense Justice unless they're named me. This pack has another Snapsail Glider, which is both an artifact and a threat, which is exactly what I'm looking for, so I snap that up. This pack doesn't have too much in it except for Liquimetal Coating, which is a card that I love far too much, but has just been fantastic whenever I've been playing it. And it also works great with my 2 Revoke Existences, allows me to remove things that aren't artifacts. It turns on Metalcraft sooner, lets you hit things with artifact removal that you shouldn't be able to. I really, really like that card. It's obviously not for every deck, but I think this is exactly the sort of deck that wants it. This is a really tough pick, and I talked with some people about this afterwards. We have Embersmith versus Revoke Existence versus Origin Spellbomb. So I've got an Embersmith, I've got 2 Revoke Existences, and I'm still kind of hurting on artifacts. So really what I want at this point is the Spellbomb, but there's an Embersmith and a Revoke Existence in this pack, both of which are, obviously stronger cards on their own than Origin Spellbomb. But my deck needs artifacts at this point. So I take the Origin Spellbomb. I think it's right, but it was tough. I probably shouldn't have let myself get into this. So I took Auriok Replica over pretty much nothing. Here we have Glinthawk versus another Quarter's Shield. I don't think I really want 2 Quarter's Shields in my deck, and Glinthawk is a solid threat, so I take Glinthawk. I don't think I ever drew Glinthawk in the games that I played, but still probably the right pick. Here we have a Gold Mirror versus a Perilous Mirror. I don't really care too much about Perilous Mirror here, so I take the other Mana Mirror. It's great because it ramps me up quicker to True Conviction and lets me play my Smiths a little easier. This pack is not a whole lot of anything. The Berserkers are here, which might be good in this deck, but Wall of Tanglecord would just utterly stifle me if it got played against me. I didn't really think I'd be playing the Blade Tribe because I'm already pushing my playable limits, so I cut. So I take the wall, and I don't even end up playing it, and I don't think I would have played the Blade Tribe because it's pretty aggressive, but I like the Wardens better as a 4-drop Metalcraft guy. Maybe I forgot to add the Glinthawk to my deck. That'll be interesting to see. I haven't rewatched this, but I thought I put it in there. I don't know. That'd be embarrassing. Take the Glinthawk and don't even put it in your deck. That'd be real embarrassing. Not a whole lot in this pack. Take the Wayfarer. Unlikely to play it because it's not an artifact, and it's not aggressive. There's a really late Painsmith here, so I just take that. That Painsmith should not have been in that pack. It doesn't have an activation cost, so it's... Yeah. I hide the Barrage Ogre because I'm unlikely to play it at this point. It's a good card, but I don't think it's right for this deck. I take the Furnace Celebration in case this Jerry T deck is real. I'm counting the artifacts that I have. Have a decent amount of artifacts, and Mirsmith helps with that as well. I hide the Acolytes because they're probably the weakest cards that I have, and I don't have a lot of artifact threats at this point, so I mean my real threats are white creatures. It's a nice late Auriok replica, sort of exactly what I want, another artifact creature threat. I get nothing with these last packs, so we're on to deck construction, which is pretty straightforward because I have it sort of outlined right here, but I'm one card over, so I accidentally forget to add that Warden. That must have been a mouse thing. No, I did add the Glinthawk. How about that? Okay. Add my 2 red cards. So this is not very exciting right here, just adding all the cards that I know are strong. And then quickly sort. Hide the Wayfarer is the first thing that I cut because I didn't even actually mean to add it to begin with. So I'm looking at this, and although I have a 6-drop and 2 5-drops, I think that this deck can go 24-16. Most of its stuff is early and cheap, and I have 3 mana mirrors, so I feel like 16 is probably right here. So I don't make any other real adjustments at this point, and pretty much just move on to adding the lands. I think I end up settling on 10-6. It's a little... I wish I'd been a little better on playing Turn to Slag as a double red. It's not something that you necessarily need to play early game, which is good because my deck can't do double red in the early game, and it wants white mana. I mean, it doesn't really need white mana. I have a pretty good amount of artifacts, which is good. But I would prefer to not have to play 6 red because I don't want to get screwed on white. I don't want to ever be stuck with like Auriok Edgewright in my hand, and I don't want to be stuck with like a Razor Hippogriff in my hand, or have to tap a white and then not be able to sack Auriok Replica. So yeah, that's this draft. I'll be posting the videos or the replays of the videos that I got from the draft shortly, after I do commentary on them as well. I did end up winning this draft, but I only have the first 4 games. I really hate how drafts work. You used to be able to like go into them, I think, and rewatch all the games, but I was only paying attention enough to get my first 3 games and store them in my games before it quit. So I'll upload those shortly.